How's it going, everyone? How are you doing today? I am going over my predictions for the Chelsea versus Manchester United game. This is not going to be easy. United are coming off a very big win over PSG. Meanwhile, Chelsea coming off their first second clean sheet of the season. However, we could not find the back of the net. So this is going to be a very interesting game to watch. Now, to get right into the player news, Jesse Lingard for Man United is out, Eric Bailly out, and Anthony Martial still out due to his red card. He's still suspended domestically. I saw from one source that he was good to go, but I went straight to Man United's team news, like their website, their everything, and they said Anthony Martial's still out, so I'm going to go off of them because it's coming straight from the source. Now for Chelsea, Kepa just recently suffered an injury, so he's going to be out, and of course Billy Gilmour is still out with that long-term injury. Now to get right into the lineups for United, I don't expect them to run a 5 in the back like they did against PSG. I could see it happening down the line, but initially I do think they keep with their standard 4-2-3-1 like Chelsea, the same formation Chelsea's been running, and I just think they stick with the 4-2-3-1, and if things start going wrong, they transition to maybe a 3-5-2. If things are going right, they transition to like a 5-3-2. Either 3 in the back or 5 in the back, depending on how the game's going for them and whether they want to, really press Chelsea or not. But I initially went with a 4-2-3-1. De Gea in goal. I went with Alex Telles out left instead of Luke Shaw. Maguire and Lindelof as a center back pair. Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right. For their holding midfielders, I chose Fred and McTominay. They've been the duo for pretty much the entire season for United, so why break that up? For their front three, I went with Juan Mata, Bruno Fernandes, and Mason Greenwood. Bit of a tough one to call. I could see Dan James coming in for Greenwood or maybe Mata. Fernandes is like the only one that's a guaranteed right there. For me personally, I also think Donny van de Beek should start over someone. I don't know who, so that's why I left him on the bench, and I just decided to leave him on the bench, but I do think he should start the game. I think he's a very talented all-around player and would cause a lot of problems for Chelsea. So I think he should start, but I didn't really know who to replace. I haven't seen enough of United to say, oh, McTominay hasn't been performing well, so let me take him off from Van de Beek. I didn't quite know who to take off, so I just left it as is. And then up top, of course, Marcus Rashford, who had a good game against PSG. Now for their subs, Dean Henderson, Axel Tuanzebe, Luke Shaw, Donny van de Beek, as I mentioned, Dan James, Odion Ighalo, and Edinson Cavani, who could make his debut in this game. I personally think if Rashford didn't have a good game against PSG, Cavani actually might have started this game, and Ole probably would have started Rashford at left attacking mid or something like that. But Cavani for now is going to be on the bench and will likely make an appearance at some point in this game. Now for Chelsea starting 11, I went with Edouard Mendy in goal. Of course, he's making his return after being injured after the international break. In the defense, I went with Chilwell left back. Of course, he's been doing incredibly well. Thiago Silva and Zuma as a center back pair. And then Reece James, who put in a great performance against Sevilla. I think he deserves another start today. I think we need to keep a similar defense to find some more consistency. And I'll cover this a little more in a bit, but I just think picking the same defense is going to be crucial to finding some kind of consistency. Now for our holding midfielders, of course, Jorginho and Kante. Now I want to put a little asterisk next to Jorginho because I do think Kovacic maybe deserves a start. He did really well when he came off the bench during the game against Sevilla, and I think he deserves some kind of showing in this game. He did really well defensively, more so, and he proved that he can play that holding midfield alongside Kante. So I think maybe a little asterisk next to Jorginho, maybe Kovacic. For their front attacking three, at the left attacking mid, I want to see Ziyech. I don't care what Lampard's think. I don't know. I don't know how long Lampard can keep up this relationship with Mason Mount before it starts hurting the team. Not that Mason Mount, and I said this in my review video for the Sevilla game, not that Mason's a bad player. I just think Ziyech will bring more to the team than Mount. So with Lampard constantly starting Mount over Ziyech, not only is Ziyech gonna get unhappy, but Mount is just not as talented as him. So I think Ziyech needs to start over Mount now and let him grow into the team as a starter. Now for center attacking mid, Kai Havertz, right attacking mid, Christian Pulisic, and up top, of course, the main man, Timo Werner. Now on the bench, it was a bit tough. I chose Caballero, Christensen, Azpilicueta, Mount, Kovacic, Abraham, and Hudson Odoi, you may or may not know this, that Olivier Giroud is not on the bench. Really tough decision. I don't know who I would even drop. I just dropped Giroud because I feel like of the subs that I chose, Caballero, Aspi, Mount, and Hudson Odoi are probably the only shoo-ins, the only lock-ins. Christensen, Kovacic, and Abraham are the ones that I could see getting replaced for Giroud. Probably Christensen, but it was a really tough call for me. I dropped Giroud, but that was just to drop someone. It wasn't even because Giroud's performing poorly or anything. It was just to drop it someone. But for the last 3 games for both teams, for United, they won. Obviously, they had their big 2-1 win against PSG in the Champions League. They had their big win over Newcastle where they scored 3 goals late, 4-1. And then, of course, the huge monumental loss against Spurs, 6-1, which is crazy to watch. It was mind-blowing to see that score after the fact. For Chelsea, they had that draw against Sevilla, the very disappointing draw against Southampton, and then the huge win over Crystal Palace, 0-0, 3-3, 4-0 respectively. Now, for the last 3 times Chelsea and United have met, the most recent one was in the FA Cup semi-final where Chelsea got the upper hand over United 3-1, but the past 3 games before that, United beat Chelsea. They beat Chelsea 2-0, 2-1, and 4-0. I know I said last 3 matchups, but I kind of have to include the 4-0 because it's such a huge win on the fact that United got 3 wins over us before we even got 1. And I think that it's kind of representative of how we're going to struggle a bit against this team, honestly. This is going to be another test in this game as to finding consistency after a good performance of any kind, whether it's on the offensive front, defensive, midfield, whatever. It's another test to try and find some level of consistency after a good performance. And we responded to the win against Crystal Palace by drawing against Southampton. So we need to respond to this draw against Sevilla, holding a clean sheet, looking good defensively with a good defensive showing against United while scoring a couple goals in the process. Man United is going to come at us with pace. They're going to have a relentless counterattack. They're going to press us. We're going to get hit on the counter. We're going to get hit on the counter multiple times. This is not going to be a game where either team, honestly, is just going to have it free defensively, and we're both going to get tested. Both sides are going to get tested by counterattacks, and it's going to come down to our defense again. They need to stay relatively... I personally thought with the lineup, I mentioned it a bit, that the defense needs to stay relatively the same in order to allow them to find their groove together and find consistency together. So I think, maybe Reece James for Azpilicueta is like the only one I could see coming in and out, and Zuma for Tomori. But other than that, we just need to keep our defense largely the same in order to allow them to find some kind of consistency together, not, with different defenders coming in and out. And Man United's going to come at us, like I mentioned, with pace, and much like the last 2 games, we need to keep our shape. We need to keep our shape in order to remain solid in the back and not allow them to create spaces, forcing mistakes where players are coming in, or forcing needless fouls where the ball gets whipped in and it's a dangerous free kick. We need to keep our shape, and communicate. Communicate with each other to make sure that we all know, everyone on the defense knows where every forward is at all times, and we're gonna get countered, like I already said. So we need to be ready. Now, I already mentioned that I don't see either team playing conservative formations. For Ola, probably 5 in the back. For Lampard, probably a 4-3-3 is a bit more conservative than his 4-2-3-1 at the beginning. Unless they go either comfortably up or they're down, I could see them trying different things in those types of scenarios. But initially, I don't see them abandoning what they've been using regularly. I know Ola put out a 5 in the back against PSG, but I feel like he won't do that against Chelsea. I could see it happening. It's not impossible, but I just feel like they go at each other with the same formation and just go. And in this game, I do feel that the midfield will have an important job, most namely Conte and Jorginho. They need to stop Bruno Fernandes from having any kind of impact in the game, because right now wait a minute. I left Paul Pogba off the bench. Oh. I'm going to stick by it. Screw it. I forgot about Paul Pogba. I forgot he even existed. Wow, that just clicked in my head right now. I forgot Paul Pogba existed. Well, Too bad. I'm just gonna leave it how it is. I actually thought about it too. I was like, where would I put Paul Pogba? And then I just completely forgot it when I was building the lineups. Whatever, you know, that's my prediction. Screw it. Paul Pogba's not gonna be on the bench or the starting 11. But like I was saying, the midfield will have an important job. Most namely, Conte and Jorginho in stopping Fernandes and disrupting their attacking mids, not really allowing them to get quite into the game and pushing them back and making sure that they're kept at bay and allowing our offense to get something going. We need our holding midfielders to create and not be the culprits of giving the ball away too much. You know, against Sevilla, they had a lot of sloppy passing, so we need to stop that and get back into it and keep the, you know, good passing flowing. You know, Jorginho's a very good passer, but against Sevilla, he gave away a lot of passes that we can't afford to give away against United because they have an explosive offense just like us. They can break at any time and they can score off of the simplest of mistakes. So we need to prevent sloppy passing. We need to just keep it safe, not too conservative, but not too out there and wild, like no crazy passes. Make sure you look up when you pass, like a basic thing when you're passing. And honestly, the holding midfielders and midfield in general will likely make or break the game as to who really has control, because they'll be able to dictate how they attack, where they attack from, and just how they control a game. So the midfield battle is going to be really crucial here, and if we win the midfield battle, we'll have a really good chance of winning the game. Now the front three, as in the left attacking mid, center attacking mid, and right attacking mid, need to break at lightning pace. We need to pass back less, and amongst all the forwards, we need to just have less back passing, and they need to all use their creativity as a unit in this game to try and be wholly unpredictable. We need to come at them with different attacks, different approaches, and just try different avenues of attacking. You know, whether it comes from the fullbacks, from the center, whatever, we need to just try a bunch of different things, which is why I think Ziyech deserves a start, because he's an extremely creative player and we need that. We need to be versatile. We need to be different against United on the attack. We need to come at them in different ways in order to try and break them down so that way we can get into the net. And it's crazy when I think about both teams, to be honest, because they are so similar, right? United, I mentioned this in my Premier League prediction video for the week, and I mentioned that United and Chelsea are just so similar. You know, they have rickety defenses that can crack very easily. They have a keeper who has made multiple mistakes and been left red-faced a lot of times. And we have strong midfields that have proven that they are probably the best parts of the team, and explosive offenses that can just go off at any time and score 5 goals. You know, so this is a game where we have two similar teams going at each other, and it's definitely going to be back and forth. I feel like each team's going to get control at certain points, and they'll both rely on their defenses in this game to stay solid and not crack, because both defenses are dealing with strong offenses. This is not going to be an easy game for the defenses. We're both dealing with offenses that are pacey, explosive, and creative. So it's going to be a matter of whose defense can hold on longer, whose defense is going to crack first. And I feel like if neither defenses crack, then this is going to be a really tough draw, because that's about where I see the game going, to be honest. I feel like United may have the upper hand because of Chelsea's high-profile mistakes, but I mean, they have gotten the upper hand over Chelsea in recent times, but this should be a game where Chelsea keep pace and keep up with United. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I'm not 100% sure Chelsea can win this game, but I have hope, and I know for a fact that we should not be dominated. This is not a game where we're getting control, we're getting dominated. This should not. I swear if we lose like 4-0, I'm gonna be so done. Because I'm gonna be a Villa fan after this. This should not be a game where we lose by more than 2 goals. Honestly, 2-0, 3-1, 4-2, those kind of scorelines fine as long as we weren't completely out of the game. But this should not be a game where we're losing more than 2 goals. Honestly, this should be a game where it's extremely tight, and I very much see this being a draw. I see this being a 2-2 draw where we go back and forth. Maybe United go up 1, Chelsea go up 2, and then United, score late as per Chelsea's, defensive woes, and we draw 2-2. Obviously not the most ideal result, more so for Chelsea. United have gotten a couple wins in their last, 3 Premier League games, so they obviously can afford to draw. I mean, they lost against Spurs, but and Crystal Palace, but they can afford to draw more so than Chelsea. I feel like Chelsea need a win We need a win. Our last 5 games have been draw, draw, win, draw, draw. We need a win, please. But I do think a draw is kind of realistic with this game. I feel like both teams are going to share the spoils. It's going to be a back and forth game. We're both going to share control for large portions of it. And it's just good. I think it's going to be an entertaining game to watch. I really do. It's not going to be where either team really sits back and just lets the other team do whatever they want. I feel like this is going to be a game where control goes back and forth, and it's going to be an exciting game to watch. I know I said that about Sevilla and it wasn't the most exciting game, but it was still entertaining to watch. And ultimately, I could see it being a similar game for United versus Chelsea. It's just a matter of Chelsea, can get control in a half. Because Chelsea struggled to do well across both halves. It's always one we struggle, the other one we do well. So it's a matter of if Chelsea can stay consistent throughout the whole game and actually stay in the game for the entirety of the whole 90 minutes. Like I mentioned, the game's going to go back and forth. It's going to go back and forth. I have a strong feeling it is. But it's a matter of us taking our chances and taking advantage of our defense, coming off of a good game against Sevilla. Hopefully they remain solid against United. And if they remain solid, it's going to be up to the offense to create and be clinical in front of goal. Because I feel like that's really what it's going to come down to too. Strong defenses and a clinical offense. That's what it's going to come down to, taking those chances that the defense presents. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be very back and forth, but I do think it's going to end up in a draw, a 2-2 draw. But yeah, those are my predictions for the Man United versus Chelsea game. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Go check out the socials in the description. My Twitter is @BlueHermit1. My Instagram is @BlueHermit_. Please share your socials with all your friends, family. Everybody know. Let the people know Blue Hermit's where it's at. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.